Whenever there is a dispute over wealth, over property, over spending, this means that the relationship between the spouses is not positive. And the vast majority of such problems come when the wife is working and she's earning, and sometimes she earns more than the man. And this is when the man intervenes and wants to have control even on the wife's salary, or to at least have control where she spends her money. And dispute arises. So what's the ruling? First of all, we have to go to the basics. It is not something that is dependent on our logic or our taste or even our culture. No, it's not the way to judge things. In the early 60s and 70s of the previous century, the 20th century, the Muslims were bombarded with movies, TV series, with programs depicting and ridiculing a man with more than one wife. So what is called polygamy, or having more than one wife, was fiercely fought and attacked. And this changed a lot of the perception and the ideas of the people, to the extent that it became normal for housewives, even in the lands of Islam, born to Muslim parents, living in a Muslim country. It was normal for a woman to say, let my husband go abroad, commit adultery, fornicate, does whatever he wants, where she would be a co-wife to me. Subhanallah, she accepts him to commit adultery, and she turns a blind eye to that, so that he would not get married in halal, as Allah has prescribed for him when there is a need. Likewise, nowadays, we're bombarded through the media, through women movements. You too, me too, we too, he as well, movements, calling for empowerment of women. We have bloggers, we have YouTubers, we have celebrities coming and brainwashing with filth the brains of women, telling them in confidence, you can make a difference. You can be your own decider of how your life goes. You don't need no one. You can be independent. You have your choice. You have your freedom. Your face is your identity. Don't let anyone cover it. Don't let anyone suppress you and hide you and tell you what to do and what not to do. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. If Satan were to come, he wouldn't add anything more, because all what they're calling people to is to go out of the boundaries of Islam. This is what their actual mission is. Now, some of them, out of courtesy, would probably say, you can do this through the Islamic channels or through the Sharia. How? You want to give women empowerment. You want her to get married without a guardian. You want her to travel without a mahram. You want her to do whatever she wants, take off the hijab, come out in Western clothes, mix with men. Where is Islam? She says, I pray 5 times a day. Why do you cover your hair when you pray? Because Allah told me to cover, and my prayer would be invalid if I prayed without covering my hair. Touche. So why don't you cascade this to the rest of your life? The moral of what I want to say, I don't want to waste your time on such a topic. The people nowadays are bombarding women to be independent. So if you work, then you're independent. You don't need a man. Almost everything in the household, he decides for the family, for the betterment of their lives, and for them to progress and to move on forward. This is the norm. But there might be exceptions. There might be black sheep in the family. So we have to look at each case by case scenario. Now, as for Zaryab question, if a woman is currently working, let us ask, was this condition stipulated in the marriage contract? Meaning that when you proposed, her guardian or she said, I'd like to have your consent that after marriage, I'll continue to work. Though she was working, but when they made the marriage contract, they did not stipulate this condition. After marriage, it is the right of the husband to decide whether to allow her to work or not to work. Why? Because this is the meaning of the constitution of marriage, that the wife stays home and the husband works and provides. Simple as that. Now, if he allows her to work, this is his decision. And by allowing her, he would compromise some of his rights. Because instead of her being home 24/7, taking care of his house and of his children, of him, he is losing like 10 hours a day for her to work. Here, it is something that they must reach a mutual agreement. So the husband in such a situation has the right to say, I don't want you to work. And it's a must that she obeys him. Or he says, I allow you to work, but you have to compensate me by paying, for example, for the driver or for the maid who's working instead of you, cooking and cleaning, or to give me like 25% of your salary. This is what they agree upon. It's a business transaction. The wife has all the right to say, this is not fair. You're not a man to ask such thing from your wife. I'm quitting. This is her God-given right. She quits, she sits home, it's his job. But does life go on like this? Either my way or the highway? It doesn't. Basically speaking, I do not approve of men taking anything from their women. I do not consider a man to be a proper real man when he stretches his hand begging his wife for allowance or for her to buy the food. If he's stone broke, he should act like someone who's stone broke rather than being arrogant and insisting on this and that as if she's obliged to work. She's not obliged to work.